Hello and welcome. It's Francis here. Thank you for coming back to my channel. If this is your first time here, I bid thee welcome. There is a subscribe button below if you would like to help support my channel by subscribing. Also a bell to be notified as to when I upload more content. I'm coming to you from Ghana country, and as such, I acknowledge the Ghana people of the Adelaide Plains as being the traditional custodians of these lands. So I have been posting a number of videos of late, which is a little bit unusual for me. There is a lot happening, so depending on where you are at, just take sort of videos that interest you. Like this one, we're talking about the upcoming full moon that will be taking place on Wednesday, the 11th of June. It will be full here in Adelaide, South Australia at 2:25 a.m. on the 11th. It'll be in the astrological sign of Sagittarius, the archer. And it is rather bold and adventurous at 20 degrees 39 minutes of Sagittarius. And of course, at a full moon, we have the moon opposite, so the sun opposite, which is at 20 degrees 39 minutes of Gemini. So Sagittarius is about expansion, exploration, long distance travel. It's also about new discovery. And there's sort of this optimistic, visionary aspect to it, about growth, pushing the boundaries and going beyond limitations. So you may actually feel, or even have started feeling, as we're moving into the energetics of this full moon, that you are beginning to reevaluate what you believe and the direction in which you are heading, and even consider what needs to be changed in order for you to keep evolving. And I guess in order to do this properly, we really need to get out of our head, which is going to be a little bit of a tussle because Gemini is all about the head, and get out of our mind, get out of our thinking, and especially when we've been locked in. And then trust, maybe be a bit more adventurous, taking on the Sagittarius energy to explore different approaches to things, to see if we can look at things outside the square. So if you have a copy of your birth or natal chart, look to see what house 20 degrees 39 minutes of Sagittarius falls in, because this is also the area in your life that the sun is going to be shining its light on, bringing something into your conscious awareness that is needing to be released, to be closed out. That's something that's coming to an end, because this is also what happens at full moons. It's the end of the lunar cycle. And if you're not aware of this, maybe think back to the last new moon in Sagittarius, which was early December, I think December the 1st last year. And if you are into manifesting and planting seeds, what did you plant back then at the end of last year? And how have they manifested so far? If you're not into manifesting, then we're at the sort of halfway point of this year already, which is a bit hard to believe. So it's almost a good opportunity anyway to just sort of stop and take note of the bigger picture. How are your current actions playing out? Are they still in alignment with your own values and goals, which may be shifting? So Aquarius is mutable fire, and the other mutable signs are Gemini, Virgo, and Pisces. And we've got a bit of a fiery aspect to this new full moon. I don't know why I keep thinking about new moon. It's a full moon. And this lunation is not going to be a subtle one, because there is a grand trine in fire. We've got Mars at 26 degrees of Leo. We've got Chiron at 26 degrees of Aries. And these are providing us with the inspiration in order to heal our spirit. And Chiron, I'm going to take a little bit of a diversion, because Chiron is conjunct with Eris, which is a dwarf planet. It's named after the Greek goddess of discord and strife. And as Pam Gregory points out, check out her video below, she is the one who is said to have started the Trojan War, and she's going to be activated also at this full moon. So if there are areas in your life where you have actually been ignoring problems or holding back your truth, well, Eris being activated during this full moon could really bring up tension and disharmony in these areas. You may feel challenged by other people or even experience conflict within your own self. But keep in mind that Eris only exposes what is no longer working. Therefore, the discomfort that she brings is a signal that something deeper actually needs attention and even transformation in our lives. Being part of the Grand Trine, the fiery planet of Mars at 26 degrees of Leo is sort of amplifying up this intensity, increasing this restlessness, this impulsiveness. And you may find yourself as a result becoming easily irritated, or even the need to do more physical sort of exercise to release this energy. And this fiery sort of action-orientated energy is, again, I said, being sort of balanced out or added to Eris's disruption or her disruptive attributes. And it's quite interesting because Mars in the Greek pantheon is known as Aries, and the two are said to be brother and sister. And as such, the two, when they come together, can stir up impatience, confrontation, and even the strong desire to break free of anything that's been restrictive or stagnant in our lives. And if you feel this sort of urge to make a bold move, just trust that instinct. However, before you enact upon it, just pause long enough to make sure that it is still in alignment with your longer term goals, as opposed to being merely a reaction to a temporary emotion. And we're seeing a lot of this reactionary responses these days. So good time to just sort of pause for a moment, consider where we want to head into and whether this energy is better used in a more purposeful action, whether it's sort of initiating change or setting new boundaries, as opposed to arguing or even pushing people away. Third player in this Grand Trine is Chiron at 26 degrees of Aries. Said it is sort of in conjunct with Eris. And Chiron is bringing in an opportunity for emotional healing, especially around old patterns, identifying wounds or feelings of inadequacy. And if memories, emotions, or even relationships issues are beginning to resurface again, don't ignore them or shut them down. There is this opportunity being presented to enable you to sort of move through what has been holding you back. So Chiron is asking us or inviting us to step into the uncomfortable vulnerability, to use our wounds almost like guiding stars, as they are going to help us gain a deeper sense of wholeness as we emerge later on. And after all, the myth of Chiron is that he took his wound of abandonment, he used it to fuel his compassion and caring for other people. And in following this path, he became a very wise healer and teacher. And many of us find our true spiritual path through our struggles. And at this full moon, we are being invited to find the next new steps. And this is done through owning and recognizing our own struggles. Coming back to Sagittarius, the planetary ruler of this sign is Jupiter. I was going to say Juniper. I don't know what's happening at the moment. Is Jupiter, And Jupiter has just currently moved into Cancer. It's done that on the 9th of June. So therefore it's only at sort of 0 degrees and 19 minutes. And it's interesting because the planetary ruler of Cancer is the moon. So we've got this sort of mutual tying in, so to speak, between these two, between Jupiter and the moon. And the Jupiter's going to be staying in Cancer for the next year, for the next 12 months. Cancer is a cardinal sign like Aries, Libra, and Capricorn. So it's Aries is at the beginning of the astrological wheel, and these are initiatory signs. As such, the degree point of each of these signs is considered to be the world axis, which means they are initiatory points. There is the sense of beginning something new. And then we've got Jupiter that expands everything that it touches. And Cancer being sort of a homebody, a very emotional sign, this means that it's going to be emphasized in this sort of emotional well-being and nurturing, where we feel comfortable, where we sort of feel safe and secure. And it will be encouraging us to focus on what truly matters in our lives, sort of enhancing Cancer's qualities of compassion and advocacy, whilst inviting us to step a little bit deeper into that connection space of family, security, personal values. And family doesn't necessarily mean biological family. It's the people that you around you that you care about and who support you and you support them. So as I said, there's sort of this mutual, I think it's called mutual reception within astrology is happening. And it can be a little bit of a battle because we've got this sort of homebody, sort of feeling comfortable energy which is being expanded, yet the energy of Sagittarius is wanting us to move. And I've put the link below in relation to Kylie McCord's video about this full moon, because she mentions it's like sort of like the tortoise or the snail or the turtle who carries his home on his back is now being sort of like encouraged to go for a run, to move. So we've got this sort of emotional energy play happening. Again, encouraging us to trust ourselves and go beyond what we are familiar with. So it could be a little bit of an internal struggle to sort of step into that space that is a little bit outside our comfort zone, a little bit outside at what we feel secure in, but it's almost like expanding these areas in our lives. Jupiter will also be conjunct with Mercury in Cancer as well. And this could amplify your own sort of emotional intelligence, because Mercury is all about the mind as well as sort of deepening our understanding of human nature. And Mercury is at 4 degrees, 42 minutes of Cancer. So again, it's right at the beginning of this sign. And it also articulates how we feel, not just how we think. As I said, Mercury is about the mind, but Cancer is also about how we feel. So it's helping us to express our emotions, to connect more deeply with other people around us, and more importantly, to communicate with them. But wait, there's more. So there's a lot happening with this full moon. The Sun and Moon are also squaring the nodes. We've got the North Node at 22 degrees, 57 minutes of Pisces, and the South Node at the same degree point in Virgo. The North Node is our future direction, and the South Node is our sort of our karmic past, what we've sort of brought into this lifetime that we need to sort of release. And as such, this will be highlighting emotional turning points, probably in belief systems, that will hopefully enable us to trust our intuition more. Again, there's this overall encouragement to get out of our head, out of our sort of stagnant mindset that's no longer working, and come back to the body, come back to the sort of heart center, or the higher mind, the intuition, to trust our feelings again, to expand ourselves and to trust our inner knowing, again, by getting out of our mind. And it's asking us, where are you ready to take a risk in expanding your own personal inner spiritual growth in order to move forward? And you will be able to move forward with the support of what's being offered by the cosmos. For after all, we are at the sort of new chapter of being, so to speak, with outer planets Saturn and Neptune both recently, in the last couple of months, have moved into Aries. And Aries is all about self-identity. It's the I am sign of the zodiac because it's right at the beginning. Saturn's at 1 degree of Aries. Neptune's at 2 degrees, 39 minutes of Aries. So again, these are both in uncharted territory, starting off the new cycle. And it can be a little bit uncomfortable, but think of it as new opportunities being open to us, probably for the first time in our own lives. And coming back to the sun, which is, as I said, at 20 degrees, 39 minutes of Gemini, it is actually conjunct with the dwarf planet of the Kuiper belt, which is Al Jazera. Now, Pam Gregory does talk a lot about Al Jazera. She says it's connected in with the Dreamtime stories of the Aboriginal peoples here in Australia, and more appropriately with the Angra people of Central Australia, where Al Jazera relates to Dreamtime. And Dreamtime sort of encompasses a vast body of stories and beliefs and practices, as well as the sort of the sacred space where the ancestral beings actually created the landscape. And one of these ancestral beings in particular that's found within a lot of the Aboriginal peoples, or the different sort of family groups and what's called countries. They're called countries, they're not called tribes, they're called countries, areas, is, of course, the rainbow serpent. So again, this is sort of adding or emphasizing the sort of like the possibilities of a new future, of making our sort of dreams a reality. It's like, what are we wanting to bring in? And finally, also just after this full moon on the 15th of June, we're going to have the third and final square between Jupiter and Saturn. Now, the first square happened in August last year. The second square happened on the 24th of December last year. And now, as I said, the third and final is going to be happening on the 15th of June. Now, this series of conjunctions occur, Tim Pam Gregory says, about every 20 years. And the initiating seed point, however, was at the December solstice back in the turn of the century at 20,000. How do we pronounce that? 20? 20? I've forgotten how we pronounce it. We're so far ahead from that. So we're looking at 25 years ago now. And it was in Capricorn, the winter solstice, or it was summer solstice here. The December solstice was connected in, because it's around Capricorn, with our social and political backdrop. So it's like we're coming to an end of that cycle, and we are also coming up to a new solstice turning point at the end of this year as well. So be interesting to see what pans out from that. So this full moon overall is sort of encouraging you to really become yourself. There is a tremendous power of sort of letting go all that sort of pressure, or external pressure in particular, to perform, to please, to fit in with the roles that really stem from other people, and not actually ours, could actually be societal roles as well. There is also the reminder to stop trying to be someone else or attempting to meet the expectations of other people, society, etc., which are not actually in alignment with who we are. And in saying that, also the self-imposed expectations that we also place on ourselves that we think other people, society are expecting of us. So there's a bit of a sort of two-way street, because sometimes we do project our own expectations of our own self externally, and then reinterpret them as someone externally expecting things of us, when it's not at all. This came from our own heads. So in the light of the Sagittarius moon, there's truth. And this truth is going to really set us up when we surrender, release, again, the boundaries, the limitations that are no longer working for us. So I do put the links below of the astrological sources that I use for this video. So check them out. I am Gregory, Kelly, Molly McCord, and also Forever Conscious, because they are the astrologers. I am not. If you are in Adelaide, there will be a full moon gathering on the Tuesday, because I do the gatherings on the evening before the full moon down at Largs Bay. Go to the website for Mystical Soul Academy or Temple of the Dark Moon. The links are below to find out what you need to bring. It's going to be a bit chilly, so dress up warmly. And remember to breathe, to step into that sort of uncomfortable vulnerability that Chiron is offering us to step into, to enable our soul, our spirit, our essence of us to expand, to move through on our soul's trajectory. Until then, blessings.